How you doing, guys? This is going to be a bit more of a refined live stream. Just going to get straight into the analysis. Hang around for a little bit for questions. Jacobite, how you doing, mate? Robert, how you doing, mate? I'm not expecting a big turnout. This is more for people after the fact, really. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of discuss short-term volatility, and is the cryptocurrency market setting up for a crash, right? And this is really important. So just some things that I've got in mind, some things that I am thinking about. I was looking at Commitment of Traders report, open interest, a lot of different things this morning, going through some ideas, going through some things, trying to work some things out, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I think I think things are a little bit tentative at the minute, and it's very easy to kind of, I'll just wait for this plane to go by. But I think it's very easy to fall into the trap of assuming, right, that this quiet, isn't a negative, or at least can possibly be a negative. Okay. And it's really important that we stay on top of this, because at any moment in time, the markets can pretty much do anything, right? So we've had a pretty decent open. US equities are doing all right. You see the Nasdaq's up 128, 125, 128, whatever. That's almost a 1% change. Dow's up a little bit, decent, about 0.3, 0.4%. And the S&P same, 0.4, 0.5%. So it's a decent start, okay, to equities open, right? But open for 10 minutes, things seem okay. Had a good indication that they were going to kind of open a little bit flat, earlier today when I did the video, and that seems to be the case. But the tech sector is the one that we need to be focused on the most. You can see we've had that first initial response here, bit of a dip, secondary dip, and we're getting a little bit of movement from the open right now. And it is possible that if we run a little just to clear this high, because there's no liquidity here, it's going to run into an imbalance, and it's going to basically stop dead around about 13. Right, 13 is a huge psychological number for the Nasdaq. And in turn, this is probably going to keep Bitcoin here for a little while, right? So I'm trying to figure out what the correlation is between all of these, global markets, not just US equities. Obviously, everything plays a factor, but predominantly the US equities market and predominantly the Nasdaq is what's keeping Bitcoin kind of suppressed at the moment. But what's interesting, according to some of the data that I was looking at today, in terms of open interest on Commitment of Traders, right, which is basically the amount of money by big institutions. So you've got commercials, you've got institutions that are big players that have money in or out of something, right? So they have open positions, open interest in, let's say, Bitcoin, or in, the dollar, or in whatever, commodities, assets, whatever, just everything. And that open interest is constantly fluctuating. So sometimes they will hold more longs, sometimes they will hold more shorts, and so on. And at the moment, just as a quick rundown, right? I'll make this really, really quick, so I'm not going to go into the data itself because it's mind-numbing, right? And it's boring. But it looks like things are being accumulated when in actual fact, short positions are being increased. Super, super important. Yeah, Commitment of Traders updates once every week on a Friday. That information is published. It's a week old, effectively, but it's pretty much on point with what's going on, with all of these different asset classes. And it looks like I said, a lot of these positions seem like they're being accumulated. So we've been hearing a lot of this, Bitcoin's going up, Bitcoin's, being accumulated, commodities are being accumulated, gold's being accumulated, dollars being accumulated, and so on. Predominantly on the dollar, for example, the dollar is about 70 to 80%. Long positions are still being held on the dollar. But, and here's what the interesting thing is, if you look across the board, there are more short positions being accumulated while long positions are being reduced, okay, than there is the other way around. This isn't good. Like, this really, really isn't good. So I'm not tooting doom and gloom or anything like that, but what I'm saying is we have to be aware of this, because this is information, right, that is publicly available, right? on the CFTC website. You can't change it. It's there. They have to report this information. But not a lot of people are aware of Commitment of Traders report. And it's, like I said, something that we definitely have to be mindful of, definitely got to pay attention to, and try not to look at all of these headlines and some of the news that's available and some of the videos that are out and so on. I'm not saying that I'm the only one that looks at this stuff or that I'm absolutely right. But what I'm saying is it's definitely something we need to be paying attention to. Longs are being reduced across the board. This is not just cryptocurrency related. This is US equities, stocks, commodities, bonds. Longs are being reduced, right, while short positions are being increased. Yeah. The percentages, favor the shorts being accumulated more while long positions are being reduced in all of these positions. And we're talking about huge money, which really moves the markets, right? So bear this in mind. At any moment, we could get some volatility to the upside, which doesn't make sense, right? But then when you look at it from a trap point of view, if Bitcoin really starts to run, the reason I do these live streams now, right, and the reason that I'm kind of just jumping on and rambling about all of this stuff is for one reason and one reason only. When Bitcoin runs and starts to look like it's going to turn, just be careful. Don't assume that it's the turning point. Let Bitcoin prove itself, right? Let Bitcoin start to run into some of these, much larger levels. Let's get rid of this because we don't need that. Let Bitcoin really start to run and get back above 40,000, 42, 44,000, before we even consider saying, yes, this is a turning point, right? We've got to be super careful, guys, because this one chart here says it all. 2 levels, one of them is going to get hit first. Which one is it? Our job is to try and figure out which one of these 2 levels is going to get hit first. That's it. There's nothing else. So don't, I know we all have our own ideas, our own investment plans and stuff. I can only tell you at least what I'm doing. I'm being very cautious, very careful. And I'm going to let Bitcoin prove to me. Yeah. So if I picked up the phone and I called Bitcoin, bit of a random way to say this, but if I picked up the phone and called Bitcoin and said, do you think I should be adding to my positions right now? I honestly believe that Bitcoin would say, no, yeah, just stay away from the markets for now. I've got a surprise for you lot. All right. So just kind of think of it like, that way. Afternoon, Ashley. How are you, mate? So my intention is not to come on and stay on for, for an hour. I just want to. Oh, yeah. Just as a quick side note. Smooth or bits? Personally, I like smooth. I'm not really a fan of bits in my orange juice, but anyway, should do a random poll, but yeah, just be careful, right? Just be careful. There's not a lot of people on this stream. The streams don't get a lot of views, and that's absolutely fine with me. But I know the people that are paying attention, the ones that really want to be here, they're the ones that I'm talking to. You guys are the ones that I'm talking to, Be careful with your positions. Don't go nuts. Don't go crazy. Yeah, you see, smooth all the way. Yes, absolutely. Oh, Alan. Oh, man, I can't kick you, can I? I don't think I can. I can put you in a timeout. I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding. Oh, man. But yeah, no. Just either way, orange juice is good, right? But yeah, just be cautious. Don't just go randomly adding to your positions. I've lost the. There we go. Don't just go randomly adding to your positions. Just be careful. There's no rush, right, guys? I mean, listen. By the end of the year, do you want to be in a stronger position or a much worse position? We want to be in a stronger position, right? We want to look at our portfolio and say, do you know what? I weathered that storm. The markets were really crap, and I managed to just ease my way into a solid foundation that I know I can build on going forward, right? Yeah. So M4T. What we got here? I'm just gonna call you M4, right? So you're saying here, so not buying alts. I'm assuming until BTC hits 45K, right? No. That I mean, the way I'll tell you what I'm doing basically. Until Bitcoin gets back above this high here at 48,000, give or take, right? I'm not adding to my positions, or until Bitcoin gets down to 20,000 or sub 20,000, I'm not adding to my positions. Now, let me be really, really clear on what I'm saying. Just because Bitcoin hits one of these two levels doesn't mean I'm going to do something. That, for me, gives me permission to start looking for confirmation to add to my positions. So to be, again, really clear, I'm going to run you through a quick scenario. Let's say Bitcoin starts to come lower. It hits 20,000. Now I'm awake. But my hands are still, can't do anything. I'm still sitting on my hands. But I'm awake. I can start paying attention now. Okay, Bitcoin's hit this level. What's going to happen? I'll run you through a quick, let's say it does this. Bitcoin hits this level, a little bit of a bounce. Okay, I'm awake. I'm paying attention. What does that mean? What can I do? Nothing. I've just got to wait for confirmation that this is indeed a move that could potentially be a nice buying point. And then I will look for an opportunity or confirmation that this is indeed slowing down. It's a solid point, or whatever. Or is it going to keep going potentially all the way through the liquidity pool to the bottom end around about 15.8, right? We don't know. But there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of accumulate positions. You could say, well, I'm going to grab a first portion down here. This is all education, right? I'm just talking about education. Absolutely not financial advice. But if price comes down to 20,000, you could say, okay, look, I'm going to split my $10 into 4 portions of 250, right? So $2.50, 4 of those, and I'm going to buy, I'm going to put $2.50 in here. If it goes higher, I'm going to add another $2.50, or I'm going to add 250 at 20. If it drops more, I will add, another 250 at say 16,000. Then if it starts to turn, can't do anything until it shows a real affinity, and an indication that it really wants to go. So let's say maybe you wait to 37,500, you add another 250. Then it really starts to go, and you add above 48,000. Then your average cost is about 28, right? And you've managed to weather all of this. Now, that 8,000 may seem like a big deal, but if Bitcoin's sitting at 100,000, you're going to be happy that your average cost is at 28,000, right? So, yeah, just a quick example. No worries, James. Thank you very much, my man. Smooth, good man. So again, look, like I said, I just wanted to quickly pop on for about 15, 20 minutes. I'm not going to be hanging around. I have a funny feeling Bitcoin's going to do something. That's why I wanted to quickly jump on and do a very quick sort of live stream. I'm deciding whether or not to do these live streams later in the evening when there's more, of the US participants that are kind of around at that sort of time. But I've got some stuff planned, and hopefully it's going to really start to get things moving in terms of the YouTube channel. But for now, like I said, quickly pop on, go over some ideas, just let you guys know that I'm doing a lot of research in terms of commitment of traders and some other things. Gold's still strong, in terms of accumulation of like short positions aren't being reduced that much on gold, which is a good thing. It shows that money's going into gold. If we bounce on monthly from 32, where is the target? Can't answer that question, MT or M4, because to answer this question, and obviously, look, I have to think, and don't take this the wrong way. What I'm about to say now, this applies to everybody that listens to this video. Whenever somebody asks me a question, I immediately think like a gambler straight away. If I was a gambler, would I ask this question? Yeah. So it's a really quick way for me to be able to ascertain whether if I answer this question, it's financial advice. And if it is, I can't answer it. So just to give you a really quick breakdown, you've put, if we bounce on the monthly from 32K, where is the target? Let's say I say to you, the target's at 40. Yeah. I've just told you from a trusted source. So you trust me, you're here, you're asking that question. And if you trust me, I've just told you that Bitcoin's going to go to 40,000 if this happens. If it does, Now, let's say you take that information and you act on it, and Bitcoin doesn't go to 40,000, it tanks to 4K. You're not going to be very happy, and neither am I. So, the two key levels that are the most important for me, 20,000, 48,000. In terms of long-term macro trend, big cycle, right? Has to get back above 48,000 and really start to show an indication it wants to go higher, right? If that happens and it's strong and it's solid and momentum shifts, sentiment's good, we'll probably see 100K. Oh, nice one, True. Really, really happy to have you here, mate. Awesome. All the way from Los Angeles. Wicked, wicked, wicked. Your YouTube channel is a diamond in the rough. Thank you very much. It will grow, guys. It's going to grow. There's no question about it. And to be fair, look, I mean, I went from 500 subs to like almost 6,000 in 3 months. So I can't complain. Can't complain at all. But as I said in yesterday's live stream, I refuse to compromise. You know, I already know what works. You know, I can create amazing thumbnails and do some really cool editing and just talk nonsense, and it will work. But, you know, I'll get subs, but you know, are they the right subs? No worries, Robert. You're welcome, man. So there's not really much else to discuss. You know, like I said, US equity is doing all right. All eyes are on the Nasdaq for me. Okay, really want to see the Nasdaq produce something decent. And if you look at the hourly on the Nasdaq, just this portion of the hourly chart, you see, you know, when you look at charts, okay, this is something. If you're interested in chart reading and you have time to sit in front of a computer, not your mobile phone, right? Like, let's say you've been trading for 10 years and you really know how to look at charts and you found a system that works for you. You can apply that system to a mobile phone or to a smartphone, right? Because you know what you're looking for. It's really easy for you. You kind of look at it and you're like, yeah, I know where price is. What you're doing really is you're just kind of confirming what you already know on a big screen, right? But if you're just using your mobile and that's all you're looking at and you're just looking at charting for, you know, a smartphone, it's very difficult to be able to do some of the things that you see me do, or, you know, put a methodology in place or a system that actually works and makes sense, right? So if you get time and you really have time to sit down and look at charts like this, you can see, look at what we're seeing here on US equities open, right? This is the Nasdaq. And you can see that we've had a really nice move to the upside. All markets have pretty much done the same thing. The big players. Bitcoin had a nice run. You know, US equities are also having a nice run after weeks and weeks and weeks of down movement, right? Picking up buy side liquidity, and then off we go. This movement here that comes down into this level and then runs and then starts to grind sideways a little bit. Look at what just happened here, right? You have a level that it's hit here, then it started to move away, but then it's come into what would be, to be fair, it's just there, right? Yeah, it would be the green candle and slightly lower. I mean, in terms of the point, it would probably be about there. So what we're seeing, what's that? Oh, it's an arrow. Let me get rid of that. So what we're seeing is price comes down after hitting this, absorbing all the liquidity, running lower, picks up something or rebalances. In this case, it's a rebalance, runs higher, comes down, picks up buy side, deeper into buy side, and then starts to impulse away from that. What's the likelihood now that price, after all of that and understanding what we're looking at, that price is not going to start to run to take out at least this high and challenge 13, which would then put us in this level over here, which would make sense, okay, above these highs. It would hit an order flow shift, which means it's basically hitting an absolute massive brick wall, and it will probably stabilize around 1300 or 13,000 in this case, you know, and so on. So being able to look at these things helps you to just take a step back and say, well, actually, there's not really much I can do with this, but what can I do with this information? Transpose it over to the cryptocurrency market. You know, if that happens, while Bitcoin just stays here and does nothing, and then the Nasdaq hits 13,000, and let's say it responds aggressively away from that level and starts to drop lower, that's more likely to affect Bitcoin to the downside than it would to the upside. And then you assess all of these scenarios, you put them all in play, and then you try to find the one that's more likely to play out effectively. And this is what we're looking for. Is EGC in your top investments? Sorry for questions. I am new here. That's all right, mate. You can ask as many questions as you want. I'll always be honest. If I can't answer them, I'll just tell you. Yeah, EGC is one of my investments. I've been in it for a very long time. I won't be getting out of EGC anytime soon. That's for sure. Dallas. Nice one, Alan. Sweet. I'm currently in London at the minute, which is all right. You know, nice day today. We've had rain and then nice, and the sun's beaming now. I've had to put the this blind up again. Crazy. Some really weird weather. Good for the plants though. One sec. So look, one thing, I'm going to hang around for about another 9 minutes. We'll go half an hour, right? But one of the things that I wanted to kind of quickly address, I'm trying to find a way to basically get through to people, right? Something that I feel is good and that actually makes sense and that's going to make a difference to people, right? And I want it to be unique. I want it to be different. This market's saturated with influencers. It's saturated with content creators, and there's only a handful of people that I would personally trust, right, with information. I have already shown, obviously, that I know what I'm talking about, but me knowing what I'm talking about and talking to the same 20 people, no disrespect, obviously, but talking to the same 20 people isn't what I want. Right? I want to be able to reach a much wider audience, right, and change something, like really make a difference in people's lives. I know I make a difference individually, and people have done that for me, yeah, and I really appreciate the people that took their time and went out of their way to help me personally, because that's what's made me who I am today, especially when it comes to investing and trading and things. But having said that, I need to find a way to really push the boundaries now, and get the word out to a lot more people. And obviously, YouTube is a pretty decent medium to be able to do that with. So that's what I'm working on. I'm working very, very hard on finding something that makes sense. The live sessions are great, but I need to be able to put myself in a position, right, where I can engage with people, but also have series of videos that are on specific topics and really kind of push the boundaries in terms of, like I said, creating awareness and certain things for certain people, right? Because there's not enough, right? I mean, we look at all of this stuff out there in terms of educational content and stuff, and it's like, okay, where's the practical use for that stuff? I talk to people daily, and I give people advice, and they implement that advice, and they become better investors and traders, right? And I want to be able to do that for everybody, not just for the people that reach out. Heading to London next month. Nice one, GC. Yeah, London's not bad. It's not bad. A bit busy. When I first came here, I was like, yeah, I'm going to kill someone. I can't. I just can't deal with this. And that's obviously a joke. I'm only joking. I'm joking, YouTube. But it was very busy. It was super, super busy. Nice one, Troop. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, maybe. The only way that would work is if the information is mine and only mine. I would never want anybody to change what I'm saying, at least. But you've got to remember as well, some of the stuff I talk about is quite dynamic. Going to see Family and Pearl Jam. Oh man, Pearl Jam's wicked. Their song Even Flow, man, absolutely amazing. But yeah, no, partnerships with other projects. I mean, we're in talks, we're in the process of doing a lot of things, both inside and outside of cryptocurrency, both with Rematic Finance and some stuff that I'm doing for LSPTV. So there's going to be some pretty cool stuff coming, man. Pretty cool stuff coming. And to be honest, I just do all of this just to keep busy, and obviously because I really care. If I wasn't passionate about this, I don't know, man, I'd probably just go and buy a business or something. Have you checked out GLE token? Yeah, people keep asking me to check this. I've looked into it, and the reason that I don't talk about it is for two reasons. One, when people insist on my Twitter, I'm not a difficult person, right? But the one thing that I can't stand it is when people use my Twitter feed. Like, I'll post something that I think is a little bit of a to get your mind thinking, maybe maybe a little quote or something, and then immediately there's like 20 projects on my Twitter feed. I'm like, oh god, here we go. Have you looked at GLE? Have you looked at this token? Have you looked at that token? And I'm like, no, and I'm not going to, because let's say I look at GLE, yeah, and then I start talking about GLE, I'm not going to invest in it. And because I'm not going to invest in it, I don't want to talk about it, because then I don't feel comfortable talking about a token, no matter if it's going to be the savior of humanity. It doesn't matter. I don't like talking about it because I'm not personally invested in it, which means I'm just talking about a token for the sake of talking about it. Whereas BBFT, I'm invested. Evergrow, I'm invested. You know, the ones I talk about, I'm invested in these projects. You know, so it keeps things for me even. You know, people know that if I'm speaking about a project, it's because I'm in it and I want that project to do well. And then for those people who are listening to this, that'll say, yeah, but you know, you talk about these projects only positively. I don't. I said for 3 months that Evergrow coin was going down to 38. And I probably did about 50 videos saying that. So, you know, while I'm in the project watching my portfolio go down, I remained consistent and objective and said, yeah, Evergrow coin is going to 38. So there's a balance. I love what they're doing, and I think they're going to be a game changer. Yeah, GLE will be a game changer, and at some point I will go up to Scotland. I want to speak to the guys, but I'll reach out at some point. Maybe I'll speak to Chris about it. We'll see. Is London really the most dangerous city in Europe? I heard something like that. If you go out at night, you might get stabbed. Nah, man. No. I grew up in the roughest town in England. This is not a joke. I did. Yeah, it's statistically a fact. I grew up in I grew up in the roughest town in England. Yeah. And I turned out all right. So when I first came to London, people were like, oh, it's really rough down there and this and that. And then I was like, this is like a playground for children. No disrespect to anybody that lives in London, but I was so used to rough. And I mean like rough. You know, there are stabbings that happen around the world. I mean, what can you do? Down here in London, I think there's more gangs down in London. There's no real. It's very unlikely that you'd end up in a situation where you have a bit of a Barney with somebody and it just ends there. You know what I mean? They come back and then they bring their friends and oh god, you know, it's a bit silly. But there's a lot of gang related stuff here in London, and it's unfortunate. It really is. But you know, I'm not afraid when I leave my house, and I'm certainly not afraid when I'm out at night anyway. But I know how to handle myself, so I know there's no fear switch in me. I don't really care. Yeah, Birmingham. Yeah. Yep. Go to Broad Street on a Saturday evening. You know, come out of a club at 3 o'clock in the morning and see what rough is when everybody's completely smashed. You want rough? Go to Nottingham, man. Go for a night out in Nottingham. You'll probably end up in a fight. To be fair, even if you're one of the nicest people in the world, you'll probably end up in a fight. That place is a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. They've cleaned it up a bit, but yeah. All right. So again, just a quick one. Wanted to hop on, say a few things about the market. Want to maintain the consistency. They will be more refined as we go. And you'll notice just briefly, I've got these 3 charts, and obviously I cycle through the charts because I'm looking for certain things on different charts. And each chart gives me a different perspective. And then when you combine the charts together, it tells you the picture, the story. So, you know, for me, it's maintaining up here. It's pretty good. I think we see 34, which is pretty cool. And then we'll see how that affects Binance, and then we'll see how that affects the broader market. You know, and then we'll see big picture. Is this really a rally? You know, is this really a turning point? You know, or is it just, you know, a dead cat bounce? We're probably going to end up seeing sort of downside movement, you know, sooner rather than later. All right. So I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Yeah, crypto talks to gangs. Yeah, man. I know. It's crazy how this is. I love live streams because they're not scripted. This is why if somebody has a problem, I just immediately say, let's jump on a live stream straight away, because you take the element of hiding behind a keyboard away from people, because they can't. It's so sporadic and dynamic. You could be literally, as you said, talking about crypto, and then we're talking about gangs. Nobody can hide in a live stream, including me. So if somebody wants to say something to me, I can't, you know, it's just going to come up in the chat, you know. So this is why this is why I really like live streams, why they're so cool, because there's no hiding in a live stream. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. I'm going to grab myself a bite to eat, make myself a nice cup of tea, and I will catch up with you guys. I won't be around later. Yeah, no worries, Free. There'll probably be 2 throughout the day. I'll probably do one 8 a.m. Yeah. I'll probably do one this sort of time, and then I might do one sort of later in the evening. Do a couple a day. We'll figure it out. I've found a really nice schedule, and then I'll just kind of stick to it. Yeah, you're welcome. No worries, guys. And we'll catch up. All right. If anybody needs me, I'm in the Discord. Ciao for now.